Welcome explorers, and welcome back to episode 3, season 1 of Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand. Proudly brought to you by the Forsaken Explorer NZ. Featuring the town of Materia. Previously on episode 2, we visited the town of Mokai. This town used to be where everyone from Taupo or Taupo or Taupo would come to get all their groceries and their shopping. It was bigger than Taupo. It's a bigger town. He showed me photos of the sports days and that. It was a humongous town. It was huge, and had a big sawmill here, shops, and rows of houses. Welcome to look inside. You can see some of the housing further in the distance in the village here. Right, welcome to the church, guys. Hello, church. Oh, wow. Hi, explorers. Welcome back to the channel. The Forsaken Explorer here. And welcome back to Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand. And here today, I brought you to the town of Materia here. Here is the town hall. This town here has very rich history. The town was established by the early settlers in the 1900, and the local school in the 1902. And it had timber mill here, and they did lots of timber work, and it was a timber town. And it has its own railway network to get here, and since the timber mill moved out of the town has become a ghost town. And currently at this time, one of the local people have started a toy factory where they make swings for children, and one of their biggest clients for the swings is Kim Kardashian from the Kardashians. 7 Sharp have featured a program out here about the town, and we'll get to explore and see what we can find at the town and see what cool things we can find, old shops and old houses and whatnot. And welcome back to Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand. Cheers, explorers. Rightio, explorers. Not only was this a timber town, but they produced these red bricks. A lot of these red bricks here were used in many railway tunnels in the area, including another tunnel I've explored, the Porter Rail Tunnel, and other tunnels. I believe it to be 3 tunnels between here and Tambranui area where they use these red bricks, among other tunnels. And there's red bricks there. And this train line here, it's disused. This is the train line here that is closed down between Tambranui and Stratford. It's completely abandoned. It's not used, and you can go on golf cart tours that have been modified to go on the railway lines, where you can catch and take a ride. You have to pay a lot of money, and you get to ride the train tracks on modified golf carts. It's pretty cool. You get to go through all the tunnels and bridges. So yeah, we'll see if we can look at some of these tunnels and bridges later, and we'll get along the town, see what we can find in this awesome town, Materia. Cheers, explorers. So here we have the Materia Town Hall, established in 1930. And this particular building at this time, I believe, may be used for hire at some point in time. Yes, if you wish to hire the hall, view the RSA honourable boards, please contact, and it has telephone numbers there. And quite neat. Looks like it's recently been painted, not quite finished. They do have a Costropolitan pub or club here, as Ohura did, and we went inside, and the local patron there, that bar lady, was very helpful and shared information with us and was wonderful. So we have another old shop here, not sure whether it's currently used at this time, but it is Daisy May shop there, arts and crafts. That's a pretty cool looking old shop there. Very interesting looking. Alright. Right, so the Cozy Club here also provides camper van parking and free Wi-Fi, and I'm assuming you can park on the grass here. It's a very lovely cosmopolitan club, very large, and it does get sold out from events from time to time, such as the Sharer Awards, they were telling me in the pub. But, when we went in there was literally 3 people. So we'll have a look at this next shop here. It's currently quite boarded up. People were entering this shop, and has danger, keep out, right there, because people were entering these shops. It did have smashed windows and stuff. It's now all currently boarded up and has corrugated iron on the top, and it's had a bit of a paint job. It does have a very large crack on the facade of the building right here. I'm not sure whether that affects the structural integrity of the building, that it is a column on the outside of the front of the facade of the building. Nonetheless, it is a very nice looking building. See, Google shows this is all open and no boarded up windows.
This is what Google Street View shows you as the current photo.
And it's currently not like that at this time. Not sure what the story is with it at the moment. And at this time it is locked, but Google often does let me down. It shows this inside of this shop has broken windows and wide open, and you can go inside, which clearly we can see you cannot at this time. It does have an old mechanic workshop type smell. Looks like they may be trying to fix the place up, as there's a bit of a rubbish pile just here in front of us. It is a large, nice looking shop. And apparently this used to be a Foursquare and supermarket at the time that this was a functioning shop. And there may have been separate residents here, or shop tenants, as there's a door and 3 separate doors on the front of this building. So there's also a rugby grounds here and stuff too, and more shops. So we'll continue along the main street of Materia, and we shall have a look at some of the other shops. Right, while we're on the way past, there's the old Foursquare logo there, of when it was a Foursquare for this town. You can see how large the shop actually is, or was.
So here's some photos kindly provided by the Cozy Club on their wall. This is an aerial shot of the town in the 1930s, the day of the railway opening in 1922 down the main street. And here is a shop and a shopkeeper on the main street of Materia. And here is a flood that happened where it was halfway up to the bottom story of the 3rd story building. Here is a logging train that was used for the timber milling within the town, and a horse and carriage that had sunk in the mud on a very wet and muddy day. And here is the Bank of New Zealand on the main street, which now isn't around.
Again, Google has let me down, as it shows there was a shop here with only the front of the shop standing and the back collapsed, and now the shop is all gone. There was a shop here. In fact, the Google images must be so old, this footpath was not even here, which was done a few years back according to the person I was speaking to in the Cosmopolitan Club. Now here was another shop here, which is probably used at this time by a shopper, probably a house owner here. And you can see, I don't know if it's still true to label, Materia Motors Limited, established in 1949. I don't know if you can see that on the camera angle, but I can. 1949. You can see the old power connections which are now not there. Alright. Here in the back here, I'm unable to establish if someone lives there at this time. It's a beautiful old house here. I can hear people talking, so somebody does live back there somewhere. It's a very cool looking old shack on the main street here. We're slowly approaching the next old shop. And here we have an old chimney stack, probably from an old house. Very old building. That would have been a shop clerk's house at the back of the shop. The front of the shop is being done up a wee bit with new concrete foundations. Last I looked at this place, it was a bit fallen down, and I believe that this is a location where they make the children's swings internationally, where Kim Kardashian purchases swings for her children from. And yes, these are the swings that they make here, which they featured on 7 Sharp, which is a New Zealand media or news program that they have, more like a news talk program that they have after the evening news. And it's a fully functioning shop where they make all your needs for swing sets and children's items. Very neat swings, as we saw in the pictures there. And they're very safety conscious with their scanning inside with the COVID-19 virus and health restrictions, which is a very good thing to see. And here we have another beautiful old building here where someone may or may not reside, which also was a beautiful looking old shop. You look at the front of the old facade of the building, it is quite beautiful to look at in its architecture of the period of the time which it would have been constructed in the early 1900s. And you can see here at the rear of the shop here where they make the children's swings, the shop has unfortunately seen better days. The roof is a bit caved in, collapsed in some areas, and the buildings at the back are a bit gone. This one appears to have an old garage at the rear of the property. So we'll now head to the old rugby grounds where there's 2 churches that we can have a look at to show you all. One of them is currently still functioning as a church to this day. The other one has been transformed into a home. So we'll head there now. So here is the amount of the main street that we have travelled and explored. Shop, 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 RSA, and up top of the hill there, the bigger building there is actually a garage or motor company. I didn't really think it was that significant to show you, to get some photos up there. We can show you in the video. And we're going to head to the sports grounds. Yeah, just while we're on the way to taking you to look at church and the sports grounds, I thought I quite like the look to show you of this very rustic old looking barn, for those of you that likes barns. Very cool looking barn. Don't usually show barns, but some people have great interests in rustic old barns. There you are. Here we are. We'll head to this beautiful old looking church here for this old town when it was a bustling town in its day that they used to use. Very old historic church. We'll get a bit closer, we'll have a look. Well, I don't believe that there would be power to this church, because look at the very old power lines from the 1900s. Very old indeed. There's another one just across the paddock over in this direction here. Definitely has power lines hanging off it and is not used. Right, well here we are. We've arrived at this church where they've done the smart thing of saving and collecting the water from the roof of the church. It's a beautiful bell tower up there on the roof of the church, and this church, I've been told from the local, is still used to this day, although it looks like it has seen better days. There are actually power lines there going through the trees, but I don't think they would be connected, as I saw cut down power lines a moment ago over in this direction, over through the trees over here. You can see a power pole up there. We've cut power lines from the power pole. Who knows, they could be phone lines. Wow. It's beautiful cathedral, coloured glass, yellow in colour at the bottom, possibly red in colour at the top. It's just beautiful. A very beautiful church. Oh wow, it appears the door is opened on the church. Perhaps they've got someone nearby gardening or something to that nature, because the door is just open. It's weird. I wonder whether or not they do have power within the church. They do not have power within this church. And wow, this is an amazing, beautiful looking church. This is. Obviously they have the door open to welcome guests within the church. As I said, it was wide open, which is bizarre. Maybe for someone forgot to shut the door. Anyhow, we will shut the door behind us. I don't think they want cows and birds coming in here. What a beautiful church, and old organ. Look at the timber work. Very beautiful church. Coloured glass. And the religious artifacts. Yes, there has been birds coming inside. Look, there's bird poop up there, unfortunately. And so someone did leave the door open and the birds have come inside. There is cobwebs. So it's hard to say at this time whether or not it is used or not. But there is not a smart meter equipped, and the power is definitely disconnected within this church, which is really unfortunate for the beauty of the church. And the birds have been coming inside, and there's a great mass of cobwebs all through this beautiful church. And we have a little cupboard in here, which probably may be, I wouldn't say it's a confession booth. Beautiful, beautiful old church. I just love that coloured yellow glass. It makes it so light in here. And the lovely tongue and groove timber on the walls. And these pews where you can rest your Bible or your book reading material on the back of the person in front of you's chair, if you wish to read from your Bible. And it just has a wonderful feeling, this church. A feeling of beauty, feeling of welcome. And I love how the sashes have open outwards. Would have had a wind sash cord to wind the windows open at the top. And I don't believe there is any intact. This is quite an old church, and we won't be as rude to do so. But there is the bell. To ring the church bell of the church. Beautiful church window there, and they've painted the tongue and groove wood there with white paint. Generally I would be quite disgraced in any wood being painted that is beautiful, but it actually in fact looks quite inviting. And even the beautiful carpet is very nice in pattern, and I would almost call that an Edwardian style carpet. Even beautiful material lined from the minister's stand. Lovely religious looking chair that they have here, and that is just open, but I thought there may have been another organ, but this organ absolutely looks amazing. Very nice looking organ here that we have here. I'm not sure, I don't want to damage anything, but it seems a little stiff to open, but it probably won't work at this time. because I do not have any power within this church, unfortunately. Right, so that's enough of the video of this current church building, and we will head out of this church building and find you another. Right, explorers, I hope you guys are enjoying this explore of this ghost town of Materia so far, and even this lovely church, which unfortunately somebody had left the door open. We will lock and shut the door behind us. Don't believe the door was supposed to be left open. Maybe we'll bump into a gardener. There's nobody here at this stage, but we'll head on, and safety's probably not a factor out here in the middle of nowhere, and we'll head and have a look at the next church. Here's explorers. Beautiful. I love old churches. Why, a beautiful little church. So here we are, explorers, or ghost town explorers. We have another beautiful, beautiful church here. It was a Catholic church which has been transferred into the living quarters of the people that built the swings here in the town. Now, they do live here, and there's the privacy of their beautiful home, but perhaps we could knock on the door and see whether or not they would like you explorers to have a tour through their beautiful home. Perhaps we'll go and see. Okay, explorers, it appears the people of this home are not home at this moment, and here's their beautiful church home, but maybe we'll try on the way back and see if they're home, see if you can have a look in this beautiful home for them, but they're not home at this time, so we'll head to the sports grounds. What a beautiful looking structure of the church. Rightio, explorers, here we have arrived at the old, it's called the Matiere domain, and this was the rugby grounds here. There's sheep running around in there. Here's a goal post and another goal post. We played rugby here, and over here to the right hand side over this way, that would have been the sports club building where they would have had their meeting for playing rugby, and you can see above that the spotlights where they would have played at night time and had lit the paddock up. Sadly these days it is used for grazing sheep, which is a better purpose as any, as sheep is a big part of our country here in New Zealand, and this is not the land of the town any longer, and I don't want to spook the sheep. We also do not have permission to enter the land here, so I've given you a basic zoom in around, and we'll see what else we can see here in this town of Materia. Rightio, explorers, I'm going to take you to one last destination on the end of this video, and we're on the abandoned train line where we've found a really cool looking train tunnel and bridge that we will look at before we leave. And it's a reasonably short tunnel, but it looks pretty cool. And we'll head there now and show you. Rightio, we're crossing this bridge here, of this disused rail bridge. There's a gaps there, and we're approaching a tunnel that we're going to go and look at. It's got large gaps if you're scared of heights. No safety rails or sides, and yeah, if you're scared of heights, this is not a good bridge for you to cross, because the gaps are large with a large drop. I'm not scared of heights, I'm not scared. I'm not as thin as a piece of paper, so I won't fall through those gaps. We will have a look at this soon approaching train tunnel here in the distance. We have a scared whole bunch of cows here. But yeah, they weren't scared of the train when it crossed here years ago, but a strange human. Okay, Okay, Ghost Town Explorers, we're entering this tunnel here, this disused railway tunnel that this town of Materia made all the bricks to construct this tunnel and every other tunnel that is in the vicinity of this town. It's a lot shorter than what I had imagined, and it was constructed in 1917 as stated up there. While we're here, explorers, we must see where this ladder goes.
Unfortunately, I climbed all the way to the top of the ladder, and it did not go anywhere, and it was impassable as it was closed in with trees and shrubbery, but it was a cool climb.
And all these bricks were made in this town. The majority of all these tunnels, including the tunnel of that I went to at Porter Rail, I believe. The drainage does not work, we have stagnant water. So it is fairly long and cool looking tunnel. Has very good acoustics in here. It'd be good to play with your band in here. Anyone looking with my spotlight in front of me would think that there's a train coming. There is not a train coming. It is just I. I do believe, as I said earlier in the video, they do golf carts that are modified to go on the railway line tours where you can travel through this tunnel. This tunnel was shut down many years ago. It was the trunk line between Stratford and Tamarunui. It has a large amount of tunnels, some of the most tunnels in fact on this line for its region. And we have a side tunnel here. If a train was to come, you dive your way in here. Right, so we are kind of nearing the end of this tunnel, so it may be wise to turn back. May not look it on camera, but it is actually beginning to get dark. There's some sort of structure here with a cable pulling on there. Probably not power lines. That would have been actually for the electric trains. Alright, so explorers, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand, episode 3, featuring the town of Materia. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, and if I'm not, I do apologise. But I hope you've enjoyed the things we've seen here, a church, and nearly potentially a second church. And we got to look at some really cool stuff. That was really awesome. And yeah, so just remember, if you enjoyed this Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand, please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll put a link in the descriptions, share a picture with you of the channel details. And this possibly may be the end of this series. Planning to make it over my Christmas holiday break. I actually went to about 10 locations and I've only made these 3 videos. Some of the locations that Google raved about were just not suitable for what I would consider a ghost town of the North Island, New Zealand. Anyhow, appreciate all of you for coming along, and we're going to head out of this tunnel here and we're going to head back to our hometown. Bit of a long journey and drive ahead of us to head home. Do stick around and look at all the photographs by Morticia's Their Photography, and we'll put a link up here to her page. You can have a look at Mortography. We'll also put links to our other friends' pages that you can look at. We will catch you on another explore, and that's all for now. And I'll put links to our other friends' pages that you can check out too. We'll head home and you guys have a good one. Forsaken Explorer, over and out. Ghost Towns of the North Island, New Zealand.